Hi everyone and welcome back to Warno. Today we're going to be watching the first of the series of 5 games between Lathans and Karma from the semi-finals of the Warno League Season 0 tournament that recently concluded. These are games that I saw bits and pieces of, but I've not seen them all the way through, so I thought it would be an interesting set to cast because I don't actually know what's going to happen. Lathans and Karma, two of the titans of the game right now. Fantastic players. Very helpful when it comes to trying to balance the game and everything else. So you can expect to see some really interesting tactics from these two. Lathans today on the left, playing as the 5th Panzer Division. Not something we see a huge amount. And over on the right in red, we have Karma playing as the 39th Infantry, probably one of Karma's best divisions. And we are off with both players having significant force looking like it's heading down to Alpha. Nothing we wouldn't generally expect anyway. Karma with a smattering of units going to the top. The same with Lathans. Lathans, does he have slightly more going to the top? I think it's about the same. SU-25 rocket coming in very early there. As we know, very cheap at the moment, very effective. Have been devastating during this tournament. If you've got them, you use them. No aircraft at the other side. I can imagine Lathans thinking he needs to get more anti-air out, possibly an anti-air jet pretty early on here. As he will be expecting potentially SU-25s coming out for Karma. Karma obviously will make it to this town slightly earlier than Lathans will get there. That rocket attack jet coming in now, going straight for these units down here. Extremely effective. Just that early few kills. There's a Jeopard coming in and trying to deal with it there, and there's a Roland as well. Getting plenty of shots off, but doesn't kill it. 2 attack jets coming out there. They are rocket jets, though. Alpha rocket jets, interestingly. I was expecting an anti-air jet, but I mean, it can fulfill that role. A couple of Osas back here, and here's an SU-27S Karma ready to protect that SU-25. Lathans trying to use those rocket attack jets to get some of the units up here. Unfortunately, he's lost them both to the SU-27 there. Obviously, cheap jet, so he won't be too upset about that. But Khan will be pleased to have got an early lead in this game. The rest of Lathans' forces now arriving. Plenty of Marders there. Obviously, Marders do plenty of damage along with some Leo 1A1A1s, which will also be able to put down a lot of firepower. Now, I do notice there isn't a lot of anti-tank here at the moment for Karma. He's going to be relying on getting these Metis guys up as quickly as possible to try and deal with these tanks. It does mean that Lathans isn't in too bad a position potentially for getting into the edge of this town, or at least getting a foothold in this point in these trees and such. Up at the top, not a huge amount of change at the moment. It's going to be a bit of a stalemate up here. Karma getting some recon moved up to that building there. Probably going to make it, though he is being engaged now by the Marder and possibly the Leo eventually. And the Leo's not going to see them past that building. The Marder is now lost sight as well. Karma pushing up his BMP-3. SU-25 cluster came in down here. I assume it hit this back corner. What is actually dead there? If anything. Just lots of flames. I can't actually see if there's a vehicle there. I thought he'd be going for the tanks if anything, but all the tanks look intact. Obviously, those Metis now up at the front for Karma, so he has some anti-tank all the way near the front. They are taking fire from the tanks, though, and don't appear to be returning fire on those tanks. They should technically have a line of sight on the tanks, though. Perhaps... I'm not sure why they weren't returning fire on those tanks. SU-25 cluster coming in at the top there. Probably going for this stuff in the corner, though it could also be used for its main cannon to do an attack run on infantry as well. Karma lining his jet up for a nice pass into this side. Oh, it's peeled off. It didn't actually drop its missiles. Interesting. We do see Lathans pushing now to try and get into here. He's taking a lot of fire though, has lost 2 squads already. Marders are around here trying to give some fire support. Obviously these infantry in buildings, quite well defended by those buildings. MiG-23 HE bomber coming in there, finishing off that other pushing unit. The MiG-23 will get out. That was a funny bounce up the hill there. Did take a bit of damage. SU-25 cluster coming in here. Is it actually going to drop its bombs this time? Yes, it is. 4 bombs going down in that Roland, but the Roland has been moved. Karma has lost his SU-25. I was about to say that Lathans has also moved his Roland out of the way. He was paying attention. I think that's the first SU-25 that Karma's actually lost, though. They are sturdy planes in this. Karma getting in a much better position at the top now. Has managed to push across the top there with just those few units. Hasn't brought in a huge amount more. Karma having a very successful maneuver at the top there while Lathans focused on the bottom. Lathans with more reinforcements coming in now. I mean, the level of unit control that these two players have, the micro, the skill, is just incredible, really. They're able to be at every part of the map at once without batting an eyelid. And, you know, there are plenty of really good players in the tournament, but not all of them can achieve that. It's, you know, it's something that sets the top players apart from everyone else to some extent, is that ability to know the units and micro them so well. Look at that SU-25 rocket coming in, getting so many kills. Absolutely devastating. I think it's going to survive. Oh, it's getting close. 1 pip of health. It survives on 1 pip of health. Karma will be pleased with the SU-25 performance here. Obviously, Karma went on to win the tournament. So overall, he will win 3 of the 5 games. I have no idea which ones. I'm assuming this one is looking in Karma's favour at the moment, but we've seen huge turnarounds before. So I don't know who wins this one. I haven't looked. It was quite deliberate. I want the surprise. I don't know who wins which games. SU-25 cluster coming in again. It's really interesting. SU-25 clusters are not something I've seen used a lot, and you know, Karma's bringing them out quite readily here. Obviously, he's lost 1, but it's a really interesting thought. The amount of punishment they can take, I suppose they can get near enemy tanks that might be in a safer position. Lathan's building himself a defensive line in Charlie here, and also getting in a more defensive position here at the top of Alpha. That cluster coming in to try and go for some of this anti-air, I think. I was going to say he's going to lose that cluster. He is going to potentially get a kill on that Roland. Nope, oh, he did. I thought the Roland had made it out there, but he did get the kill. Lost the cluster, though. Another SU-25 cluster coming in to replace that one. And that one will be attempting to get the kill on the other units there, but obviously Lathans moving them out of the way, hoping that Karma won't have seen that. Karma thinking again and pulling his SU-25 back. We'll be waiting till he gets eyes on something to kill. Obviously, the Leo 2A3 would be a nice kill as well. Karma stopped here now at the top of... Oh, at the bottom of Delta, I should say. Doesn't necessarily need to push any further. Can sit happy in the knowledge that he's currently ahead in points, +5. Command's finally being brought in for Lathans back here, I assume for the 2 back points. That'll give him 6, so it'll be +1. But I would imagine we're going to see, as soon as that happens, Command's coming in for Karma as well. These players both happy with a longer game. They're not going to stress over getting points early. They're going to worry about having a good position on the map. Good map control is key. And these 2 players will be working towards that. SU-25 cluster, did it I think it's dropped. It went for the Jeopard there, but he has lost it. Roland survived. There's plenty of anti-air down there still. Not sure if we'll see that again from Karma. He's bringing in a tank now. Plenty of reinforcements coming in there for Lathans. He will have a nice defended position there. Just waiting to see that command vehicle appear here for Echo. I'm sure it's not far away. We're now in the position that the reality is, sooner or later, Lathans needs to make a push. Because as it stands, Karma is simply in the better position. He controls one of the middle points completely. So Karma needs to be pushed out of this corner, at least back to this side, to allow a neutralization of the points. And there's those two commands coming in like clockwork to counter the fact that Lathans brought two in. SU-25 cluster again. How many does he have in his deck? I can't remember how many there are of the SU-25 clusters per card. I assume this is going to go for these guys here. It is taking fire from the Roland. Oh, it's dead. Did it get its bombs off? It did get its bombs off. It's going to get some Marders. Killed both of those Marders. Didn't do any damage to the Leo 105. It does confuse me a bit, the pattern of the bomb drop in this game, because it looked to me like the Leopard, by where the smoke and everything was, but if you actually look at the dots, the Leopard wasn't anywhere near it. But it does look, from the spread of the sort of graphics, that the effects, as it were, it should have been hit. A little bit of movement here from Karma, trying to push into this tree line as well now. Leopard 1A1A1 getting hit by that BMP3. BMP3 not taking any hits yet from the Leo. I think the... oh. I think both of those were very lucky there. The BMP3 took the second shot, and the Leopard... well, the BMP3 missed with its missile, so it did survive. But Karma's not stopping. Karma's going for a push at the bottom now. Lathan's going for a push at the top, though has now met all of Karma's Sapri RPOs, which he was holding back. Will be mincing a lot of this infantry. Conker's there, taking out any vehicles that come in this way. This is very 300-esque. I think this has happened to Pua Lathans previously in this tournament as well, where you get sort of funneled here into going in this area. And obviously you're taking a lot of fire from all three sides. Down here at the bottom, Karma, solidifying his control of this point, has a command now in the point as well. This is looking heavily in Karma's favour. What can Lathans do to pull it back? There's always a chance he can turn this around. You never say never. +4 currently to Karma for control of the two middle points. Lathan's bringing in more units here for that defensive line. I think the difficulty is now whether he can get infantry into the point to try and push back into it. Looks like he was going to have a little prod here with these Panzer Grenadiers, but unfortunately they're under fire immediately from SPG-9s. And up here at the top, Lathan's in the killing zone to some extent. Not a lot more coming in at the top. There's a big tank coming in there. There's a couple of T-62s rolling along the middle there, I assume, are going to aim to come here. Perhaps to defend the centre in case Lathan's tried to push around here. I know he's mentioned that as a possible tactic to counter this sort of blockage. But at the moment, with him not being in control down here, it does mean that Karma can also fire out towards the centre. So I feel like right now Lathan's stuck a little bit between a rock and a hard place. Karma played very well by pushing and getting control of this point very early on in the game. Lots of heavy tanks coming in for Karma. T-80s. He's bringing in some more infantry and BMP-3s there. Obviously one of the big strengths of the 39th Infantry Division, those BMP-3s. Lots of firepower. Lathans assault completely pushed back now, and Karma edging closer and closer towards Charlie. Karma may not settle for sitting here in Delta anymore. He may well push into Charlie. He's defending hard down here. Lathans is on the move, with units coming in from both sides of this point. And Lathans has cleared a path. As I said, there had to be a push somewhere, and Lathans has indeed managed to push the bottom here. Those T-62s pushing across here. One has gone to the top, one is staying in the middle to provide fire support. Leo 2A3 taking a lot of fire, is backing off. Good attempt by Lathans here. He did manage to get all the way up to the trees, but he is taking a lot of fire now. As there's quite a few squads of infantry there. Some squads still down here, moving in, going for the Sapri-Opio and pushing through the centre here. But there are already reinforcements en route for Karma, so I don't think Lathans has enough here to push it properly. He is also bringing in a command, perhaps to get into this bottom corner, I would imagine. Maybe the safest place for it. Leopard 2A3 getting shots off at these Metis launchers down here. T-80 coming in there as well, though. HE bomber coming in. Looks like it's going for the top. Just hitting the stuff at the front there. He has lost the bomber. Probably an expected loss for Karma. There is an SU-25 rocket attack coming in as well. Really good effort by Lathans to try and push back into the bottom here, but I think this game is going to Karma. I don't think there's enough left on the field now for Lathans to mount a big assault. The reality is Karma just has more available. He's lost less, and I think that will be reflected in the kills to losses at the end. And it just means at the end of the day that Karma has maintained that control of the map, especially at the top. And that's made a huge difference in this game. Fantastic early push of that point from Karma. Fantastic effort by Lathans to push back. He will not give up without a fight. Back to +2 for Karma. HE bomber coming in here to take out probably that tank. Yes, and he gets the kill. He has lost the bomber, but that was one of the big things perhaps stopping Karma from pushing here, was that big tank. Conker's moving up here. That's a funny way around, but I suppose it is reasonably safe. Yeah, Karma on the move here, pushing across this point, engaging on all these forces that Lathans has brought in. He's got a lot of infantry there, but there's the surrender. Commiserations, Lathans. Really well played. Obviously, about double the kills to losses there to Karma. Fantastic game, guys. Cannot wait to see game number 2. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned for the second game, which we will have a look at tomorrow or the next day. I'll see you all then.